I am here. I am here. You call it chilling. I am here chilling. I am here to hear. I'm here to hear somebody discussing Moroto prisons. I'm here to hear somebody discuss Moroto prisons, any other prisons in Uganda. If you close the schools, yes, Lukanga, I'm here. I'm chilling. If you close the schools, because of COVID-19, let's think about this. Sometime back, people used to call it, you call prisons a university of understanding. You know, since Uganda is a country which has been closed to information, Uganda is a country that has closed off. Uganda is a country that closes off information. I am still asking myself why people in Moroto prisons have picked guns and opened up themselves. You know, let's look at it squarely. If you are a broke country, have COVID-19, why would you continue managing prisons? I would imagine any sensible prison service would not be picking young men over t-shirts. Any reasonable prison service would not be picking young men over putting on red capes. I don't know how we are managing people in prisons when we don't have food. There used to be that saying, you know, those days there used to be young men in Kampala who said, Okufo vuavu wachiri mfes sasi. And I was like, by the way, I worked in Moroto prisons. And how food goes to Moroto. I'm just thinking, how does food go to Moroto anymore? In this COVID situation, in this arid region, I think the best, Lukanga, you can't buy that story. The issue is, you have locked up people in prisons and they don't have food. This can be even the prison guards themselves, because me, I have worked with the prisoners. You can even come a situation where you have a relationship with the prison guards. So, as long as you are picking young people and piling them in prisons, maybe I'm even alerting you people. If you are picking, Bako, how are you? Bako, I'm here chilling. Are you still in the Middle East, Bako? I worked in Moroto prison, so when I heard that those guys have picked guns and 7, and now they're hunting for them. Yes. If what is transpiring in Uganda of today, where we can't even open up schools, how are we feeding prisoners? Remember, prisoners have right to food, and we're locking them there, and perhaps we're not providing food. There are several things that are happening in Uganda that now require a bit of... I saw today young men being collected like grasshoppers. You are just picking them like grasshoppers, but do you have food for them in prisons? I think you're going to have young men daring you more. You rather kill him on the street than taking them to starve in prisons. And it is, I hope the human rights bodies now who are watching over Uganda prisons, there's most likely that we are pouring them in prison, starving them to death, and pouring them to crocodiles, and pouring them. Yes. Can we get prison reports from all prisoners, from all prisons? If Moroto has broken, the Moroto, and the Moroto, maybe, who is in the Moroto prison? I'm told one time Kano Kiza Besige was locked there. But there is a likelihood that these people have broken those walls because of hunger. How are we feeding these people we are putting in the prisons? We have people in Kitalia, is it Kitalia? We have people in Luzira, we have people in Mbarara. I have worked in two prisons. I worked in Moroto prison and I worked in Mbarara prisons. And at any one time, if you're having a population of over 200, 400 people, and you don't have money, and you don't have food for them, the human rights abuse. I wish we could land on any prisoner from Moroto prison to tell us why they broke prisons. And that should alert the whole country. It should alert thinking people. It should alert thinking people that people in prisons are dying. The Uganda prisons are becoming concentration camps. What happened during Hitler's time? People in concentration camps is most likely to be happening in Ugandan prisons. The journalists, stop wasting time giving us fake stories. Journalists, please go to all prisons of Uganda and show to the world what prisoners are going through in this hard time of COVID-19. You just don't say prisoners escaped with guns, shot the guard, and they ran, and now we are looking for them, and you have recovered a few. No. The reasons why the prisoners broke the armory. It's a daring move to free themselves from starvation. Free from themselves. Who is caring? Who is looking after prisoners? Surely. Bako, stop. Bako, stop pulling my leg. Bako, why would I look like an old man? Yeah. How was the dick? Somebody's pulling my leg that I look like a kijana. Yeah. Bako, I'm worried about conditions of our people in Uganda, in prisons. The word prisons touches me because I was working with the prisoners. So when you tell me about prisons, I worked with Mbarara prisons, I worked with the Moroto prisons. So they might not be having food. They may not be having food. Can we have people focus? Can we have people focus? Put a bit of cameras on prisons. Yes, Bako, I am talking about prisons because I worked as a clinic officer. I worked in Moroto prisons. I worked in Mbarara prisons. And I'm only concerned that why have those ones of Moroto escaped? There are chances that they are being starved. There are chances that they are being starved. And we just can't sit down and start saying the army is looking for them, they have released the helicopters, they are hunting. No, what are the circumstances that led to prisoners to... Prisoners are very obedient, suppressed. But if they can break an armory, there is reason. There is reason. A few weeks ago, we had Lutamaguzi. Lutamaguzi came out and said there was genocide going on in Kitalia. He called it Kitalia. Lutamaguzi said there was genocide going on in Kitalia, and nobody has followed that story. Nobody has followed that story. If Lutamaguzi, a whole member of parliament, said there was genocide going on in Kitalia, you have people in Moroto prisons where I worked breaking prison. then we need to focus a little on these people who are just, you get somebody in a young man in a t-shirt and you are collecting them and pouring them there, and those are turning into concentration camps. We can't sit and watch what happened in Germany, Second World War happening in Uganda, that prisons turning into concentration camps. Other than the army, other than the police running after these people and calling them criminals, it would be nice if humanitarian organizations are running after these people to find out why they broke and picked guns and ran away. Ugandans, let's wake up. Let's wake up. Let's wake up. Let's wake up. You know, schools. We have closed the schools. We have closed the universities. But how do you maintain prisons? Did we have any plans to reduce on the population of people in prisons? Because who are we keeping in prison? Why would you pick somebody with a red cap, people power, a t-shirt, and collect them? Where do you get the food? Where do you get the food to look after them? You are filling prisons with the people. I'm interested. I don't know how to follow up this thing, but surely, as Ugandans, can we ask ourselves soul-searching questions that who is taking care of people in prisons? About 3 weeks ago, we saw prisoners being fed with spades like goats, like pigs. They came out and talked of genocide in Italia. Moroto prisoners have broken the armory and escaped. Does that thing ring any sense in our heads as journalists, or the journalists, or it is just about concentrating about Bobwe in Kampala and people are suffering? Can we have reports? Can we have reports? Quality journalism, investigative journalism. Go to all prisons of Uganda and give a status update of people in prison. What is happening there, people, Ugandans? Yes, Brian Msoke. Thank you for appreciating. Brian, what is happening in Uganda? What is anyone? What is happening in Uganda should worry all of us, wherever we are, whether you are in America, whether you are in Europe, whether you are whether you are in Uganda. It is our country. It is our country. I hate seeing the journalists just discussing. The journalists, you are the eyes, you are the eyes, you are the eyes. You have the licenses to give us information. When you hear Moroto prisoners have broken the armory, you guys should be embedded. You should be already on the front line trying to find out why these guys broke the armory and picked guns and released themselves and went away. This should inform us to go to Luzira. This should inform us to go to Mbarara. This should inform us to go to, there is a prisons, the prisons in Jinja, Kirinya. We need to think about all these areas. Moroto is a signal. It's a signal. Anyway, excuse me, I have to pick a call. I have to pick an important call, but I'll come back and we'll continue.